saw the emergence of Bola Ahmed Tinubu as the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, as announced by INEC, and on the 29th of May 2023, he was inaugurated. Well, yesterday made it a year since the Tinubu-led administration took power, and the last 365 days can easily be described as one of the most eventful period in the lives of the average Nigerian. Well, today on the show, we intend to pick up the conversation from where we left off yesterday, and lucky for us, we were able to engage the services of experts across different fields to give us professional insight and opinions into those who make up the helm of affairs. Well, in the studio with me this afternoon, I do have Aᴌ who is the CEO, Chronicler and Associate and Managing Partner of Aᴌ & Co. Chartered Accountants. I also have Dr. Augustine Agugwa. I really hope I said his name correctly. He's a sociologist, he's an expert in private security, a lecturer, Department of Sociology, Faculty of Social Sciences in the University of Lagos. And of course, I also have Otumba Kenny Odubemi, who's a political analyst. And I'm so glad to have you in the studio this afternoon. Thank you so much for giving us your time.
It's a pleasure. Thanks.
It's a great pleasure to be here. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Sir, do you mind coming a little bit closer so we can hear you? Thank you so much.
Very well, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
thank you. I appreciate that. So let's get into the conversation, as of course we're always racing against the clock. Let's open the conversation like this. It says, since this administration started, there's been a lot of questions. There's been a lot of reservations about some decisions that have been made, but we have supporters of government who have said that it might be a tad bit unfair to dump all of the blame on the shoulders of this administration, considering the fact that they, as a matter of fact, claim to have inherited a lot of baggage from the past administration, and so they need time to first clean up some of the inadequacies of the past administration before we can even begin to feel the impact of this administration. So let's start like this. What are your general thoughts about that notion that they are still trying to clean up the mistakes of the past administration, and maybe we should afford them some leniency? Let's start with Aᴌ this afternoon.
I guess you have to start with me because my name starts with A.
In no particular order.
and my other guests who are vast, I guess, and I must acknowledge them.
Yes.
I must acknowledge your radio station.
That's good.
What do I make of your opener?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'll go ahead and say that overall, for this 1 year, I'll score the Tinubu administration about 20%.
Okay.
And I'll score it 20% basically not because of want of trying, or basically for bold attempts to look at our problems, like you read out, or poor implementation, some own goals, some reversals. Again, those reversals can be either positive or negative, depending on how you look at it, because we've had leaders who are too proud to reverse, and there's no human being that cannot make a mistake. I say 20% also because I look at the administration, the APC administration, as a football team of 11 players. You're going to face an opponent. But I see a challenge with the midfield. The midfield is number 4. And the job of the number 4 is to be a libero. What a libero does, try as much as possible to prevent goals being scored against your team, and give nice shots out to marksmen that will shoot right. I'm afraid that's midstream. Okay, well, sorry, go back to my industry. That midfield is leaking. When I say it's leaking, I say it's leaking, and it's leaking from the perspective of capacity, competence, and consciousness of reality of what we have on the ground. I believe strongly that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, being a man on his own, is not fettered by Bᴏᴜ or somebody put him in there. In fact, people that we thought should put him in there even went against him, so he's supposed to be a man on his own. But he started counting his chicks before they are hatched. I will score him 20%. Terribly 20%, because yes, like you said, I inherited a terrible economy, no doubt about that, and it's been on the downward trend from 1999, I dare say. But getting in there and wanting to implement those policies, albeit with some kind of just power. I know my sociology lecturer will tell you, with some kind of a bit of a braggadocio, Nigeria is much more than complex. Having said all that, I will therefore say, if Abraham Lincoln or Obafemi Awolowo, as the case might be, tried, they did not succeed, and eventually one way or the other, at least one succeeded and became one of the greatest living presidents that we had before his death, in Abraham Lincoln. And Awolowo left some indelible legacies. I think we still have maybe 1 year when we are going to be looking at the midterm, for you to now go back and adopt the Dora-Akinwumi style. You raise your hand, accept the fact that it's not been so successful. Your good intentions are there. The poor implementations needs to be, including factors that may be beyond you. You see, when factors are going to be beyond you, you know what you are going to do, Sage? You humble yourself. You ask for help properly. When I say ask for help properly, I mean look for right fits for right position.
Right.
Despite the fact that so many others don't want to be part of it,
we'll
but look for the right fit.
Right.
Unfortunately,
we'll
1 year is 20%, and I'm very sure by midterm we have measured up to 50%. I have that.
Right. Dr. Augustine, I'm still going to pose the same question to you, and the question is still the same. Inherited problems is why we might not have been able to function as maximally as you would like in that 1 year. Is this a notion that you think is enough for us to grant them some form of leniency in our appraisal of their performance so far?
For me, it's good comfort that we should always be looking for things that are not missing. The substance and essence of leadership is to identify problems and offer solutions to them. Leadership is meaningless if you're walking on a kind of platitude or a level ground that does not have problems. Then you just float and it seems all is going well. The hallmark of leadership, as some people will put it, is like talking about the role of the middle class, is to identify, define the problem nature has actually exposed its citizens to, and betray the sequence of that problem by putting themselves to school, just like